as the text. So depending on how you select this, you can simply just draw a box around it and copy it, and just go to Command T for tab and grab yourself into Photoshop and go File New. This is going to give you the document setup again with all the different parameters for Photoshop under the new document. So if you wanted a part that's going to be a print design, a web page design, those type of things, the default is at 7 and 5 at 300. The letter's just 8.5 by 11, and I'm just going to make this horizontal to create that on there. So as soon as I paste this in, the options from Illustrator to Photoshop are 4. Just going to use the pixels for now, just because I just want to be able to manipulate it. And this is what you end up with so far. So the idea is to take a look at the composition that you have and change this into thickness of an enamel pin idea. So when you take a look at the layer styles, you have the bevel and emboss to show up. At least gives you the idea for it. The size of it kind of gives you the part up into the top. The technique of it is smooth or chisel hard, depending on which one you go to. The smooth is going to be fine. Keep in mind you can adjust the lighting onto this part. You can already give it a drop shadow. Drop shadow you can adjust right on the screen, click and drag. And you notice it's an even piece. It's already set to multiply. The angle is there. The part that is the distance, the spread, the distance, the size. Keep in mind that when you do this part, you can soften up some of the edges depending on how far you take the spread for that part. So it gives you a softness on this part as well. So for the most part, you have this section. Clicking OK. Okay. If I go into texture, you can kind of see it gives me some texture if I want to keep it with that section. But again, if it's going to be this enamel type idea, click OK. So for most part, it's not bad. Just kind of simply place it in there. You can free transform this, but as you do some of these operations, I'm just going to duplicate this at this point and then free transform it. So I can rotate it, Option to grab the distort on the Command key and hit return. While it's still selected, I'm going to go above it and create a layer and just call it shading. Okay, and this is where you can take the brush with the default and kind of shade some of it. You can see it's kind of going all over the place. But if I just select by clicking Command on the thumbnail sketch, it's just going to be in this part of it that it allows me to shade. It's at 39%. The brush is pretty large. So I'm just going to kind of tone some of this down. I can change the opacity of the layer to do that and just kind of take a look at this piece. So as it is presenting itself, that's what it's kind of looking along that line there. So it's trying to give you to take a look at that piece. Again, if this drop shadow is too dark, I can double click on it. Here's the drop shadow, and I can change the opacity of that as well. So it gives me a lot of options. And then the latter part is the background. Right now it's just a solid white background. I'm going to go above it, make sure nothing's selected, and just click on the gradient just to see what it looks like. It's kind of dark to light. I can change this value a little bit more of a medium gray and place it on there. Under the filters, under Filter Gallery, it gives me all the options as I can take a look at it right from scratch. I can't see it comprehensive with all the textures there, but I can kind of give it a relief for the texture for that. Click OK. So now I have something at least as a texture to it. Again, on that layer that's just above the background, I'm going to put a stroke on this part, but I'm going to have it on the inside. And when you see it go on the inside, it now has this section. And I might want to eyedrop a color. So when I click on the color, it'll let me pick a color right from the composition that's here to keep it within the same feel of the design. So that's where I'm going to end up with that one. So when you're done, save this file, but then go to File, Save As. And there's many ways to go through the documents to save it. So Save As is one. I'll just show it to you real quick. Where you can, down at the format, change this to a JPEG. Okay. Cancel that. And then the other ones that you have, Save As or Export, you can export it as a PNG. Export as. PNG is going to give you a small file condensed. This is right now, it's at 300. pixels per inch, so it's going to give you that option. And then exporting it as gives you the window that allows you to choose the different styles of different formats to choose from. Right now it just gives you the first one, tells you where you're going to save this part. So I'll just go to the senior share now. We have this. Here's the malleys. So final pin design. And just remember, put your last name first in there. So I hit save in there. So now it processes and it gives you the first image. It's taking a look at it. It's 4.1 megabytes as a JPEG. I can reduce the quality to reduce the file size. I can change it to a PNG file. Those type of things, and it gives you the different options to pick from. So I'm just going to keep it as a JPEG right now. I may lower it down. I can scale it as well. Canvas size I can change in here. You know, if you want to minimize the quality, it'll minimize the size of the file. But I'm just going to keep it at 100 and hit export. Okay, so see if you can't take that last section there and so I have one as a PNG file, one as a JPEG, just to show you the two. Okay.